My name is Tammy Wade, and I'm from Golden, Colorado. When my 14-year-old son, Trevor Wade, was about to begin high school in 2008, the state intervened and opened a dependency and neglect case, saying he was beyond my control. My husband and I had recently been divorced, and the children would have benefited from help in the form of counseling and family therapy for people suffering from divorce. However, instead of giving us help for dealing with divorce and abandonment, they took him out of my care. They put him into state care even though I had been seeking treatment for him with Dr. Weiss in Highlands Ranch, who is also a psychiatrist. I was trying to get him leveled out, but he was having major mood swings, depression, and not going to school. They used all that to get him away from me. They used his problems to create a case against me and make me look unfit. Trevor became addicted to Oxycontin in the foster home and developed substance abuse issues while he was in foster care. Within 2 months of Trevor's placement in a foster home on October the 10th, 2008, my 8-year-old daughter was called into the office school psychologist, Paula Acker, at Shelton Elementary in Golden, Colorado, where at the time that was the school that my child, Tamara Wade, had attended. She reported that she was sad that her brother had been taken away. When I arrived to pick her up at school, I waited in the parking lot, but she never came out of the building. After the third bell rang and she had not come, Cricket Stevens, the supervisor of social services of Jefferson County, came running out and told me that there was going to be an emergency meeting. Dana Hollis, which was the case manager at the time, and Kirsten Caswell, another case worker that was on my child's case, had gotten a judge to sign a temporary hold to put my daughter, Tamara Wade, in foster care. Judge Burback was the judge that had signed this temporary hold. Judge Burback had already signed the hold to give the state of Colorado temporary custody of my daughter. I had to go from the school to the intake office at the Human Service Department building. My daughter was placed into a foster home. The most incredible part of this story is that the foster home where she was placed at was the home of Paula Acker. She was the very same school psychologist who had pulled her out of her classroom and into her office. They kidnapped my daughter right out of the classroom from her own mother. In October 2011, I notified Dr. Sagai that my now 17-year-old son, Trevor, who was in a treatment facility called Synergy, was having more problems with his anxiety and was not getting better. His problems seemed to be getting worse as the winter was coming on. I addressed this with the doctor. Bipolar disorders run in my family. They had him on high blood pressure medicine called clonidine. They upped his blood pressure medicine to 4 times a day when he initially was only taking it 2 times a day for his high blood pressure, but they upped it to 4 times a day in order to try to treat his anxiety that he started to get as the weather started to get worse, as anxiety was getting worse. You don't treat the symptoms my son was having with high blood pressure and just dismiss it as a seasonal mood disorder. The anxiety and effect of season changes are some of the major symptoms of bipolar disorder. The antidepressant Lexapro that my son had been on for over 9 months was not helping his anxiety. At Synergy, he had earned his overnight stays. He asked me to please let Dr. Sakai know that his anxiety and mood swings were getting worse. We discussed this with the staff at Synergy, and they said that they would let the doctor know all of this and for the doctor to give me a call as soon as possible. He called me back about 5 days later and said that he didn't think my son could be bipolar. What about his anxiety, his mood swings, weather influences? We will just up his high blood pressure medicine to treat his anxiety to 4 times a day. This is just seasonal mood disorder. I know better. I am his mother, though, and I know that that was not just seasonal mood disorder. And I know about his family history also, and that we have bipolar in our family that runs on my mother's side of the family. I had always participated in the health of my son, and my ability to protect my children but my ability to protect my children had been taken away from me for no legitimate reasons. So in October 2011, state officials were not willing to research the symptoms that my son was having. The same symptoms that people have when they are bipolar. The doctor was not willing to change his medications. He would not allow me to convince him that my son was bipolar. He just dismissed it as seasonal mood disorder and that he would be over it in a couple of months. They completely disregarded my knowledge and input as his mother and as the information that I knew about from my own family history. From Trevor's journal dated 10/17/2011, in his own handwriting, he wrote, "I know right now that I have so much to offer and no one is ready for that. It's time to take some time for me, for self-reflection. I am feeling guilty about my inability to remain sober." Trevor had been in 2 group homes, a temporary foster care home, and from there to treatment at Synergy for the last 4 months of his life. By December the 30th, 2011, my son died of an overdose, and it was too late for these professionals that knew how to help him to help him. They would not listen to me. The Department of Human Services paid for my son's funeral. They promised to pay for his headstone as well, but since 2 other children had passed away within 3 months after my son's death that was also in foster care in Jefferson County, they no longer had the funds to pay for my son's headstone. I am still trying to raise money to bury my son with dignity, and then I plan to leave Colorado and possibly go back to Texas.